The scent of coffee brewing usually filled our home with a comforting warmth, a daily ritual that marked the start of our shared lives. But that morning, the aroma was laced with something else, something bitter and unsettling. It was the scent of a lie, though I didn't know it yet. My wife, Clara, had been distant for weeks. Her laughter, once the soundtrack of my life, had become a rare and hollow echo. She blamed it on work stress, late nights at the office, the usual excuses that I, wrapped in the cozy blanket of trust, had readily accepted. After all, we were Mark and Clara, the couple everyone envied, the ones who had built a life on a foundation of love and mutual respect. Or so I thought. That morning, she left early, a quick peck on my cheek that felt more like a formality than an act of affection. "Big presentation," she'd mumbled, her eyes avoiding mine. I waved her off, telling myself I was being paranoid. Later, as I was tidying up our bedroom, a Sunday chore I usually enjoyed, something caught my eye. I was reaching for a stray sock that had skittered under the bed when my fingers brushed against cold metal. I pulled it out. It was a watch. A man's watch. It wasn't mine. My heart hammered against my ribs, a frantic drumbeat of dread. The watch was heavy, expensive-looking, with a worn leather strap that spoke of frequent use. I didn't recognize it. It wasn't my father's, not my brother's. A cold sweat broke out on my forehead. My mind raced, trying to piece together a puzzle I didn't want to solve. Who did this belong to? And what was it doing under our bed? The bed we shared. The bed where we had whispered our dreams and promised each other forever. I called Clara. The phone rang and rang before clicking to voicemail. "Hey, it's Clara. Leave a message." Her voice, usually so sweet, now sounded like a stranger's. I tried again. Voicemail. My hands were shaking as I typed out a text. "Found something strange. Call me." The minutes stretched into an eternity. Each tick of the clock on the wall was a fresh jab of anxiety. My imagination, my worst enemy, started painting scenarios, each more painful than the last. The late nights, the hushed phone calls she'd cut short when I entered the room, her sudden obsession with her phone. All the little red flags I'd so willingly ignored were now waving furiously in my face. When she finally called back hours later, her voice was clipped, annoyed. "Mark, I'm in the middle of something. What is it?" I took a deep breath, trying to keep my own voice steady. "I found a man's watch under our bed, Clara. It's not mine." There was a pause, a silence so heavy it felt like it could crush me. When she finally spoke, her voice was a little too high, a little too defensive. "Oh, that? It must be from one of the guys from work. We had a study group here last week, remember? Someone must have dropped it." A study group? I racked my brain. I didn't remember any study group at our house. I was always home in the evenings. A study group? When? I don't recall anyone coming over. Her story was already unraveling. "Oh, Mark, you forget everything. It was that night you went out with your friends." Yes, that was it. But I hadn't been out with my friends in over a month. The lie was so blatant, so clumsy, it was almost insulting. The bitter taste in my mouth intensified. My wife, the woman I trusted with my entire world, was looking me in the eye, or at least her voice was over the phone, and lying. My world, the stable, happy world I thought I lived in, began to tilt on its axis. "Clara," I said, my voice barely a whisper, "I haven't been out with my friends for a month. Who was here?" The line went quiet again, but this time I could hear her sharp intake of breath. She was caught. "Look, Mark, I'm busy. We can talk about this tonight." And she hung up. Just like that. She left me standing in the middle of our bedroom, holding a stranger's watch, with the shattered pieces of my trust scattered at my feet. The room suddenly felt cold and foreign, the familiar scent of our life together replaced by the stench of deceit. The rest of the day was a blur of torment. I couldn't eat. I couldn't think. I just stared at the watch, turning it over and over in my hands. The worn leather strap seemed to mock me. Who was he? How long had this been going on? Were all those late nights at the office a lie? Was our entire marriage a lie? Every shared memory was now tainted, every "I love you" she'd ever said now questionable. When she came home that evening, she tried to act normal, smiling as she walked through the door. But her eyes couldn't meet mine. The smile didn't reach them. I was sitting on the sofa, the watch on the coffee table between us. It was a silent accusation. She saw it, and her carefully constructed facade crumbled. The truth, when it finally came out, was a torrent of confessions that washed away everything I thought was real. His name was Daniel. He was a senior partner at her firm. It had been going on for 6 months. 6 months of stolen moments, secret meetings, and a web of lies so intricate I couldn't believe she had managed it. "It just happened," she whispered, tears streaming down her face. But it didn't just happen. It was a choice. A series of 1,000 small choices that led to this moment of utter devastation. She said she was sorry, that it was a mistake, that she loved me. But how could I believe her? Love isn't deceit. Love isn't betrayal. The woman sitting in front of me was a stranger. The watch wasn't just a piece of metal and leather. It was a symbol of her betrayal, a ticking time bomb that had just detonated my life. I had given her my whole heart, and she had carelessly tossed it aside. Finding that watch under our bed didn't just break my heart, it broke my world. And I knew, with a certainty that chilled me to the bone, that nothing would ever be the same again. The foundation was gone, and our house, our life, had come crashing down around me. Looking back, the signs were all there, like breadcrumbs leading to a trap I walked into willingly. But when you love someone, you choose to see the best in them. You build your life on a foundation of trust, never imagining that the person you share your bed with could be the one to plant a bomb right under it. That watch was the detonator. Now, standing amidst the rubble of what was once my life, I have to figure out how to rebuild. Alone. It's a daunting task, but a necessary one. This journey of healing is just beginning, and it's a path I know I must walk to find peace and, eventually, a new beginning. Thank you for listening to my story. If you've ever felt the pain of betrayal, know that you are not alone and that healing is possible. Please consider liking this video and subscribing to the channel for more stories that remind us of our shared human experience. Your support means the world.